right, everyone. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome you to this week's Implementation Specialist webinar. Today we'll be covering updating the payroll tax tables within GP. My name is Scott, and I'll kind of be walking you through this here, but since this does involve payroll here, we do have our payroll guru, Margie, on the line as well.
Hello.
All right, everyone, so we're going to go ahead here. It shouldn't be too long today. It's a fairly simple process. If you do have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and type them into the question field in the GoToWebinar box here. We'll be covering this through the slide deck, and then we'll hop into Customer Source and GP and show you how to do it. All right, in today's agenda, we'll be covering when you should be applying the payroll tax table updates, the automatic process to do so. There's also a manual process if that automatic one fails, and then how to verify to make sure that they were installed successfully. All right, when should we update here? Microsoft generally releases tax table updates mid to late December for the preceding year. The 2018 tax tables were first published, and that date is incorrect. I do apologize. They were actually published. They were published on the 22nd is the official date that they released. Normally, you do not want to install them until after you have completed the previous year's year-end processing. Your W-2s have been generated and printed, your 1095s have been filed, and you've closed payroll at the very least here. Don't necessarily have to close your general ledger and the other modules, but you want to make sure that your payroll year-end processing is complete. If possible, you want to do it before the first pay run of the year. That may not always be the case. If you issue paychecks weekly, or like on the first of a month here, unless you're running everything on the 31st, it can be very difficult to do that here. Normally, if you run your first or even your second on the old tax tables, for the most part, that's not going to hurt anything here. The GP taxes are mostly estimates. The final amounts determined when your employees file their income taxes in April of the following year for the current year, but you don't want to let those sit either here because they'll be running off the old tax information. Like I said, the first few years usually not very much that they'll notice, but if you run throughout the year, there could be some problems. Microsoft will also occasionally release second round updates. They have the updated tables for those coming out here in late January. And then sometimes there's also mid-year tax updates that also get released as well. And I've got a suspicion that with the tax law that was signed in, there might even be one coming up pretty soon here to incorporate that. But we'll kind of cover where you can find that out here once we get to the customer source part of that. All right, updating automatically. And we'll go through the slide deck first here, and then we will hop back into GP afterwards here and kind of give you that walkthrough. The automatic and the manual process both start within GP. If you go to Microsoft Dynamics GP, maintenance U.S. payroll updates, then you'll be presented two options, automatic or manual. Excuse me. This is also system-wide tax table updates here. You don't need to do this per company. You don't need to do this per machine that has GP installed. You just need to run it once for all companies and all systems. And this is different than like the year-end update that was released by Microsoft for 2017, because that did include code updates. It was actually more of a service pack, and that did need to be installed on everything in order for GP to successfully work with it. Once you come here, if you're going to do the automatic one, you just keep the radial and automatic. It should default to that. If not, click on it, then click Next. You'll need to enter in your authorization number. Usually this is your company's phone number. If it's not, your partner can get it for you. I know Microsoft most oftentimes when they first create a customer and they get the phone number, that's usually what they will enter in for the authorized number, just to make it easier to remember. But if the phone number is not given, it'll be assigned usually like an 010 number. It's 10 digits long here. You'll want to click login, and then there will be a little scroll bar, progress bar that comes up, and it'll run across then here. And then again, it reiterates here, you only need to run this. The mid-year updates is sometimes a code update too. So that's a little deceiving there. I do apologize. But like I said, if it's just tax table updates, it just needs to be run from one system here. And since it's stored in the Dynamics databases, it'll cover all of your companies. All right, updating automatically. Sometimes that process will fail, but here's a couple tricks to kind of help eliminate the issues you may encounter. The first one is when you run GP, if you right-click on it, there'll be the option to run as administrator. What that does is it gives you full read-write access to GP. A lot of times it might be a permissions issue. If you run as administrator, that should take care of the permissions issue. When you log into GP, use your SA credentials. By default, the SA account is a power user in GP. And for those of you that had attended my security role webinar, the power user is the exception. Normally in GP, you have to be specifically given access to every area you can get into. Anything with power user just tells GP to let me in. It doesn't even check to see if you have that security here. So there should be nothing that does block it. And if possible, run this on your SQL server. If there's a network connection between the system you're on and the SQL server here, it can sometimes produce an error. So taking out that network issue there can also help eliminate it here. But even sometimes when you're doing all three of those, it will still fail. We've had customers where it's worked 1 year, the next year, even later on in the year when they've had a tax table update, it'll fail. We are not unfortunately sure why, but the manual process usually is a lot easier to just run than doing that. What you will need, however, in order to do the manual access is you will need access to customer source. GP, as long as you have the authorized number, anybody can get in, but to do it manually, we need to download the tax cab file, and that is stored on customer source. We'll cover kind of searching here. It's easy enough to find, and it's a file. It'll ask you to save it to your computer. My recommendation is save it to your Dynamics GP install here. There's the path here, and then if you're running on a 32-bit system, it's just /program files / and then all the way through here. And the reason there is it is a really old school search menu to find the file, and it defaults to that location. So if you can save it there, you can just use the default location and not have to play with the old search menu here. And we'll kind of show you that here when we get to the example. All right, the path file is the same here. It is GP maintenance US payroll updates, and then check for updates here. This time you'll want to put the dot in the radial button. Again, it'll look for a file called tx.cab, with the default location being the same as that GP is installed on that computer here. So if you saved it there, you can just go ahead and click next or OK. And then again, it'll process the button you click, and there it is. Like I said, I'll show you that browse when you click on this little folder button here. When we switch over to the example here, it's not the prettiest one, but you can do it. All right, and then verifying your install once you have your tax table. And anytime you do an update, we want to make sure it gets in there here. So in order to do this, if you go to GP Tools, Setup, and like I said, it's a system-wide change. So you go to System and Payroll Tax. There'll actually be a field that shows the last tax update, and that will be the date that the tax update was published here. So the page may be a different one on GP. I'll kind of show you that, but I'll show you how to identify the dates you need. Occasionally might be later than the first published date. If there's like a revision or a mid-year tax update, Microsoft very often doesn't have to make revisions to these. But if they do, it may be slightly off from what you're expecting here. And there is that payroll tax set that shows the last tax update. And I'll cover a few things on this window as well. And then this here is Marty's favorite way to verify that it was installed. from the same menu here, check the filing status for your FICA Social Security here. It's usually a very simple tax. And a lot of times you'll see limit changes depending on the living expenses and everything that gets calculated every year when they do the tax revisions. So if you verify the amount here, and you can do a Google or Bing search to find out what that current limit is. And we'll walk you through this. You just set that tax code to FICA S. The filing status, should only be one filing status, and when you click on tables, it'll show you that amount. And there's the 2018 amount. As you can see, it's a very simple tax. For 2018 year, it's just 128,400 is the taxable limit, and that's at 6.2%. So if that field is what it says that it's supposed to be for the year that you're wanting to install these for, you should also be good to go there. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a bit of a pause here before we hop on over here. Does anybody have any questions? Or Margie, did you have anything?
No, you've covered everything very well. The one thing I will, and you did touch on this, Scott, is the February tax tables are going to change. Anybody that's been following the news knows that because of the new tax bill. I have been in touch with Terry Healy, and they are working on it. They don't have it done yet, but please know that we will keep you informed with any information that we get from Microsoft. And when that is released, we will let you know immediately so that those can go into your tables as soon as possible.
Yeah, so, and that might take them a while because there is one scheduled for late January here, like I said. I'm not sure if that is going to be the new tax bill here or how that's going to factor in. But like Margie said, once we do get it, we'll send out the splash email, let everybody know that it has been published here. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to hop over to GP quick here. This is a 2015 install. The process is the same. I've seen it from 2010 to even through 2018 here. And I figure it hasn't changed on the versions instead of the year builds. So what we're going to do here, and I just want to show you this. There it is. Like I said, it is a fresh install here, so when this comes up, I have nothing in here. I have not installed the tax tables. And so then, like I said, in order to do this, it's Tools, Maintenance, U.S. Payroll Updates, and then Check for Tax Updates. Now, this will spin for a little bit because this is technically not within okay, why is it not wanting to come up now? It's not within GP. It's actually a little program that does get called by GP here. Let's give this a quick check here, see if it comes up. It was earlier here. Yeah, because something's flashing up there and then it's dropping right away. I'm just going to relaunch this here. So I do apologize about this delay here. I do make sure everything works for me, and then of course when it comes time to present, I get my system gets stage fright. All right. In the meantime, just checking over here. Not seeing any questions yet. Again, if you do have any, feel free to just put them right into the questions box, and we'll be happy to answer them here. And I do apologize to our remote viewers here. There's a bit of a connectivity issue that is unfortunately going on. I can kind of see the view quality kind of sputter between 100 and low %. And so usually we do record our webinars. We are recording this. If it's a bad copy, I will re-record. And we will also publish that one here so you can always review it. So you're not watching a bad quality video on this. Okay, still does not appear to want to run here. I do apologize about this. Let me see if I can get another one up and running here. The joy of doing these things live here, everyone. So, all right.
Yeah.
So we will spin up my 2016 here. This doesn't work. I have a test box I'll connect to here. See if it will run on that one here. Just waiting for my 2016 to load up here. Oh, that is. Okay, and I can't even connect to my remote box. All right, so I might be re-recording this one in the future here, giving a proper demonstration of doing the tax updates. I do apologize that it is not wanting to run right now, but when we do get that re-record updated, I will alert everybody when that new video is up here. I'm still waiting for my 2016 still spinning here. But it is starting to come up now. All right, I'm not sure if this is part of what's going on here or what, but I do apologize about this, everyone. But like I said, the steps in the slide deck are still the steps that you would need to take. So if you are, like I said, having questions, you can certainly go through those. If you have questions, you can certainly reach out to me, reach out to Margie here. We can certainly help you with that. Yeah, even my Connect's not wanting to give this a shot here. There we are. It wants to work for 2016. All right. So again, it'll bring this up here, automatic or manual. So it defaults to automatic. Click next. Oh, it spun off here, so I'm going to bring this back. Put in your authorized number. Again, this is usually the main line for your company. If it's not, your partner can get it for you. Just, I mean, hopefully it's with implementation specialists. If you just want to choose a quick email, we can certainly get you that information here. And since that is just a scroll bar, I'm not really going to show that to you here. So we're going to do it manually, just to walk you through that. So the first thing we need to do is bring it over so you can see what it is. As you can see, it defaults to your install location. You click the file. You get the really, it's almost, for those of you that are Windows 95 or even earlier users, this might be familiar to you. It doesn't show you all the files. It shows you everything underneath the tree that you're on here. So it can be a little confusing for more modern PC users here. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to assume it's in that location. So I already have customer source up. I've logged in. And the search I just simply did was GP tax update. And usually your first 3 or 4 results are going to be the payroll tax updates for your various GP systems. They are not universal. You can't put the GP 2013 on the 2015, unfortunately. So you need to make sure you're downloading the specific one here. And as we are in 2016, I'm going to click on this here. And I want you to see this over here. It lists the last date it was updated. That was 1/15/2018. That's when this little knowledge base article page was updated. It was on the 15th. And that could be anything from, they went in and corrected a spelling check. It logs me out. All right. So we will, oh, there it automatically logs me back in. All right. So you can see here, it'll show you what's in here. Again, this is 2018. This is the round 2 release. Again, the target release is end of January. And there'll be state updates for Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, Rhode Island, and then the federal updates. But this is the one that's currently available now. It'll show you the states here. It lists the FICA Social Security limit. But this is the date right here that we want to pay attention to, the last tax table update date. So when you go in there and view this, it'll be updated here. The NAs mean there isn't a code change included in this. It'll give you the instructions to download here. It'll say make a backup of your databases. And this is just the recommendation anytime you make an update here. It's one of those better safe than sorry. I've never seen the tax updates break everything. But you want worst case scenario, we can quickly get you back up and running here. As you can see, the release date here, and this is why I got my date from, I do apologize about the slide deck, because it's release date 12/20, but it says up here the tax update was 12/22. So that's why I had that incorrect date on my slide decks here. So you click on it. If you've ever downloaded before, you'll recognize the Microsoft Dynamics File Exchange system, which is a lot better than the old version, I wish to state, because in the old one it only really worked with Internet Explorer. Now that it does it this way, it'll work for any browsers. You can see I'm using Chrome here. So I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna save it to my 2016 install folder. I'm just gonna drop it right in there, Program Files, Microsoft Dynamics, and this is 2016. It's going through its download and its verification here. So then I know it's saved there, so I'm just gonna click Process. Now this is one thing that's going to show here. This is why I actually rebuilt my 2015 here. If you've already installed it here, it's going to say you've already applied this tax update. Do you want to continue? All it's going to do is just rewrite it with the same information. I've not made any manual changes. Normally, neither should most users, because basically what this is stating, if you have made any manual changes to these taxes, they're about to get overwritten with the default here. As you can see, there's just a little progress bar with a percentage up there. It'll say tax updates have been applied successfully here. As you can see down here, it's got even a little different icon from GP. So then when you click that here, now if we go into our system setup under our payroll tax, you can see the last tax update was 12/22/2017. The last modifications, generally when somebody came in and made changes to the taxes, usually GP is very good at federal and state taxes. The GP tax updates do not include local taxes. If you have anything city or anything like that you need to pay for, a lot of times you'll need to set those up. If that's the case, you might see that modification here. Marty, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that Green Shades covers local taxes, though? Or am I mistaken on that one?
You know, I'm not exactly sure on that.
Yeah, I will double check that. You know, something when I was actually with Microsoft, I believe they've stated here, but at Microsoft, we really wouldn't touch Green Shades here. So, you know what, I will actually verify that information here, and I'll just send out confirmation here whether or not that is the case here. If it's not, like I said, you'll just have to set those up. But as you can see here, the last tax update was that 12/22/2017. But just to verify here, and I'm usually pretty trusting of that date, because usually if something goes wrong, it'll throw you that error message during the process. So all I'm going to do here to check it the other way is just pull up my tax codes, not select any of that. I'm just going to hit the filing status. And then I'm just going to arrow over, like I said, Social Security only has that one. It has that NA. Because it gets removed whatever from everybody's paycheck, regardless of when you click on tables. As you can see, when it's between 0 and that 128,400, it'll pull out 6.2% for Social Security. So at that point, these tax tables are updated and you're good to go. Now, a lot of times when there are tax table updates, like Marty said, we will send out splashes. But if you run this connect window here, when it actually works, sometimes, a lot of times on the back end here, it's not the greatest because if they code something wrong, because it's basically a pretty specialized web browser that connects to a few Microsoft pages at their site here. But when they do release tax table updates on one of the splash pages, it'll say, you know, tax table updates released, year-end payroll update released, and other stuff like that here. So it's another little location you can pay attention to here. It's not working right now here. Sometimes when you, let's see if we can just get it to work. Sometimes if you click off and then click back onto your home page and force it to refresh, that will get the connection. Not always. You click on the refresh within the connect window here. Nope, still doesn't want to work. If I'm able to get that to work here, like I said, it would give information. It would probably have something on the tax table updates here. But at this point, you're good to go. Your payroll taxes will pull out the information needed for the coming year. And like I said, they have another one scheduled for late January. There might even be more once more of the information on the new federal payroll taxes are updated here. So I definitely keep an eye on that. And keep an eye on your email here. Like I said, we do like to keep our customers in the know here. And this is a pretty simple one you can do yourself. But if you do have any questions or issues, please definitely let us know here. All right, so I am going to just bring this kind of back over here. And then I am not seeing any questions in our webinar here. Margie, did you have anything else?
No, you covered everything very well, Scott.
All right. So again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here. Again, I'm Scott.
And I'm Margie.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
And that was Margie. Again, our office number, just feel free to call and ask for either of us, or you can email us directly there. And we'll be certainly happy to help you here. And then again, if neither of us are unavailable here, we also have support at iscorp.biz, and that'll kind of go to all of us support engineers. And the first available one will definitely hop on that and get your questions addressed. All right, so I do believe that was everything here. Again, if you have any questions after this, feel free to email us. But I would like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon here. Again, I do apologize if any of our viewers were having connectivity issues. If that was the case, and this webinar has having the same ones as well, I will re-record this for you. And I will follow up on that green shade issues, because just to verify if they do anything for local taxes. But I know within Microsoft they handle federal and state taxes pretty good. All right, with that, I'd like to wish everybody a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.